Hello everyone, and welcome to batch 240 in the freeze dryer. So can you guess what it is? Well, I guess you don't need to guess because you saw the title. This is chopped purslane, and you can tell maybe by that leaf that didn't get chopped up very well that is indeed what it is. Purslane is I would say a wild edible because not many people have historically planted it, although now you can find the seeds. And I, for the first time ever, saw seedlings selling for $2 each at a farmer's market. I didn't buy any simply because I know it just pops up everywhere on my property anyway. So I went out and harvested a bunch of it. I washed it and then I dried it. Well, I let it dry a little, which was not a necessary step. It's just that I was doing other things. So then I chopped it in the Ninja, and then I needed more because it wasn't enough. My freeze dryer can hold 10 pounds. However, I stopped at 8 pounds because you can see when you freeze dry foods, they don't shrink up too much at all. So this tray was, each tray was actually pretty full, even though it could have held another half pound per tray. So that is what the chopped purslane looks like. And then as usual, I just go ahead and weigh it out on a paper plate. I choose a paper plate because I do like to weigh everything before I put it in Mylar, and that way I know the before and after weight of every tray. And then with a paper plate, it's so easy just to fold the paper plate and put it down inside the bag, and then just pour it so easily. No funnels involved, no bag holders involved. It's just the way I prefer to do it. So how does it taste? Well, if you haven't eaten purslane, in its natural state, some people find it a little bitter. Other people find it that it has no taste. Other people just like really gag. It's very mucilaginous, meaning basically it's pretty slimy in your mouth, but it's actually not bad. No, I wasn't joking. No, I wasn't joking. I think I just inhaled a piece of purslane because I went to taste it, but I breathed in and it was a tiny piece. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I just tried it and put it in my mouth, and I can feel it rehydrating. And immediately I feel that same mucilaginous taste. So what am I going to do with this? Well, mostly it'll just stay as part of the food storage. Purslane is supposedly more nutrient dense than spinach. Some people put it in smoothies. Other people use it similar to sassafras or gumbo filet, and use it just to thicken a soup. Some people could probably just, find a use to just eat it like it is. I mean, the reason I'm storing it is, well, a couple reasons. It's free. It's very nutrient dense, and it's a good source of omega-3s actually in a coming from a plant there. So let me show you the paperwork on that. So here we see that that's batch 240. I did, as always, a 9-hour freeze and a 24-hour dry. The freeze dryers, I'm going to probably stop saying this in all my videos. The freeze dryer's naturally preset state is a 9-hour freeze and a 7-hour dry. Mine is anyway, and I had it for 5 years, maybe 4.5, well, 5 years. So trays 1 through 4. Each had 2 pounds, and I have pureed. When it actually wasn't pureed, I pulsed it and did a little pureeing. As you can see, I even wrote on these bags that it was finely chopped, and I had pre-written those bags, and that's not really finely chopped in my opinion. So the other ones just say chopped, and that may, I don't know, I may put a line through finely on those. Because to me, that's just chopped. But as usual, you know, my freeze dryer runs like it has legs of its own. And so my freeze dryer ran for 87 hours and 45 minutes. Of that, 29 and a half hours was added time. When I say added time, I mean the freeze dryer was almost done and it was clicking down to, 2 hours left, and I wasn't ready. So I added 15 hours, and then the next day I still wasn't ready. We had a lot of places to go, and so I added another 15 hours, and then so the total added time, I mean, I took, another half hour off of that. So my total added time was 29 and a half hours, which means if I didn't add that time, the freeze dryer would have ran for 58 hours and 15 minutes. But then, of course, because don't want to make you dizzy, this added 24 hours. I put 24-hour initial dry instead of the 7-hour dry that the freeze dryer will do automatically. That's an additional 17 hours that I've added. So this actually, with no added time and just the freeze dryer's self-set settings, would have taken 41 hours and 15 minutes to process 8 hours of purslane. And I'm just packaging it in 1 pound Mylar bags. And now that doesn't weigh 1 pound, obviously. I put the pre-freeze dried weight on everything. So the weight, I've only done 3 trays. So the weights were 83 grams, 72 grams, and 83 grams. So that's a 10-gram difference. So I was saying that, 2 grams of freeze dried is equal to 20 grams. Let me start that over. 2 cups freeze dried equals about 20 grams freeze dried. So that when I put what is the equivalent of 1 pound in there, that's about 4 cups. Now, for those of you who don't know what purslane looks like in its natural state, I'll just show you some right here. Now, this is something I've already harvested. I don't know how much of that will come back. This is an unharvested one, but it's so small because I pulled it out by the roots. It was growing where I didn't want it. And I wasn't real sure that they would grow in the sand that I have around the pool, but I was trying to get something to grow here, and the hostas weren't happy there, and my berries, I tried rooting some cuttings, they weren't too happy there. Okay, so I don't know how much of that I recorded and how much I didn't. I just did a walk through the garden, and now I hit this button to start recording again, and it was actually stopping it. So I don't know what I did or how much of that was on video. But this is another area that the purslane just grows in all by itself. And as you can see, I've got some lima beans back there, tomatoes that haven't been staked up. And if you're wondering what that is there, that's shredded paper that I will cover with more wood chips. And I just throw that in the garden for the worms to enjoy. And I'll just go back here the way I came to show you once again in case I missed the video. There's some purslane growing that wasn't planted. None of this was planted. And like I said, maybe you heard it, maybe you didn't. I just leave this grow because it keeps other things from growing as much, and it's so easy to pull out. Kind of the same reason I leave a lot of the creeping Charlie grow as well. And then back over here to the pots that have volunteer purslane growing in them because the seeds my husband put in there didn't grow. Maybe he actually got purslane seeds when he thought he had lima beans or some sort of beans. And then around the pool, the purslane. Some thrived at first, some of it isn't thriving at all, and it may be because some of it was put there smaller and some of it was put there a little larger. And then the volunteer purslane and the beautiful lemongrass. Isn't that nice? It smells so good too. Oh my gosh, that smells good. If you don't have lemongrass, it's worth trying to grow. But in Pennsylvania, which is where I am, obviously, it won't live through the year. So you have to take it inside, and most people will just take a little bit of it inside. And look at that big old spider. Where's he at? There he is. Isn't it beautiful? Look at like the zigzag, oh my gosh, that zigzag web thing he got on going over there. And I'm just seeing a monarch butterfly too. Wow, I love coming out here. And when I come out, do you ever notice when I come outside, my videos tend to like go way off subject? Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's it. That was batch 240 in the freeze dryer purslane. So let me know if you eat purslane, if you have any trouble identifying purslane. And people say it looks a lot like spurge. Once you see the two things side by side, yeah, I don't feel like if you identify it very well, like they don't look alike to me. But some people say that that's the caution that, you know, they give everybody. And all right, so let me know if you think the purslane is worth freeze drying, if you dry any, or if you use it at all. And let me know what you prepped today. Be blessed, everyone.